Okay, ladies and germs, it's time for lesson 10. So, this lesson is where we get to be a little creative. You can see my screen here. What we're going to be creating is this little art project here, which is pretty cool. A little pixelation. I will when I put the lesson together, I'll make sure that this page is again flipped horizontally so that you can see it a little better. I'm going to go through a lot of the steps with you. I'm going to actually create the art pattern with you, and I'm going to speed up the film in the middle of it so that you don't have to tediously watch me do this. So here we go. So we've saved the spreadsheet as art. Okay. Now, this I found to be a little tricky. Format the width of columns A through AD to 4. Well, what is AD? Well, it turns out in normal spreadsheets in Excel, if you keep going, you can see that the columns actually start to repeat. So the column after Z is AA, and then AB, and then AC, and then AD, etc. And if you keep going, you can see that pattern just repeats itself. In fact, you can get spreadsheets that are so large that you have three letters at the top of your column. They can get really big. The problem with Google Classroom, with Google Spreadsheet, is that when you open up a spreadsheet, it only gives you 26 columns. It only allows you to get to column Z. So we want to add the columns that should come after that. We want AA, AB, AC, and AD. So that's 4 columns that we need to add after Z. So we're going to right click on Z, and we're going to add 1 to the left. We're going to right click on Z again, add 1 to the left. On Z again, 1 to the left. Now I'm adding them to the left, but it's adding them to the right because it's at the very end. Again, I could highlight 2 columns, insert 2 to the right or 2 to the left. It really doesn't matter because it's just kind of adding them right at the end anyway. Whether you add them to the left or to the right, it really doesn't matter. So now we've got all the columns that we need. We have A through AD. And now the next step in our instructions is to resize the columns A through AD to a size of 4. So I'm going to highlight these columns, all of them, all the way to A, okay? And I'm going to show you how to change the width of all of the columns at once, or multiple columns at once. All you need to do is choose one of the columns in between. Once you've highlighted them all, you have to have them highlighted. All the columns have to be highlighted. And then you slowly shrink it down, and 4 is going to be right about there. Okay? We'll make it a little smaller. Right about there. We want to fit right there. Okay? So we want to fit everything into one screen, at least for me. Okay, so right about there is where we want them. And then it says format the height of rows 1 through 15 to 24. So we're going to choose rows 1 through 15. Okay, and again, I'm going to drag in between any of the rows to resize all of them. Basically, what I'm trying to do is make them look like squares. They look like rectangles right now. So I'm going to drag them until they look like perfect squares. So that looks pretty good, actually. If I drag them too big, they're too big, so I can go back. That's a little too small. That's a little too big. That looks good. Squares. Those are squares. Okay, pretty much. All right, we can always go back and change that later once we've done our artwork. Okay, now once we've resized our cells to look like squares, okay, we're going to now format the cells so that they have these colors. They have these fill colors in them. Okay, and basically it's giving you kind of like battleship coordinates of what cells you should format. So all of the cells here are going to be black. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to stop talking. And when we get to this part of the video, it'll speed up so that I can speed through this. One thing I want to show you though is I'm going to start it here. So it says F1 through FJ. I'm choosing F1 through FJ. To change the fill color, I choose this little paint bucket, and I'm going to make that black. Okay. Now the next one is D2 through E2. So D2 through E2, black. Now I want to show you a little trick to kind of make this go a little faster. You're going to use your pinky, and you're going to hold down the control button. Okay? And then you're going to choose your cells. So the next cell you're going to choose is K2 through L2, but make sure you're in that cell first. So we're in that cell, K3 through L2. We're going to choose those. I'm holding my control button down. C3, C3, M3, M3, B4 through B5, B4 through B5, N4 through N5. Okay, so you see that by holding my control button down, I'm able to select individual cells and have them all in the same group. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like. Okay. Another trick that you can use is, let's see, A6 through O6. So A6 through O. Another way to do this is if you hold A6, you're in A6, and you shift and click O6, it'll select the cells in between. So we can do that. Okay. Rather than clicking and dragging, you can just click, shift click, or click, shift click, and it will select the corners of the rectangle. Another technique, A7 through A10. So A7 through A10. I'm going to go ahead and shift click. Okay. I'm going to make that black. Okay. Another technique, a little trick here, is if you click on a cell that's already black and you want to copy the formatting of that cell, whatever that format is, you want to copy it. There's a cool little feature here called Paint Format. And basically what it allows you to do is when you choose that, it'll transfer the format of whatever that cell is into the other cells. So I want this to be O7 through O10. Notice that it's got a square and a little hash mark around it. That means that it's selected the formatting and it's going to apply the formatting C7 through M7. Right? Okay. So there's a lot of different ways to do this. I'm going to go ahead and just use the ways that work for me and speed up the film through this process. Okay, now I'm going to type the text, cool dude. Ugh. Eye roll. Cool, dude, in cell A6 and change the font color to white. So A6, A6. Notice that I can't see it because it's in black, but you can see it up here in the formula bar. So change that to white. Whoops. Change that to white. Okay. Oh, and I want that in A6, yeah. Change the font size of cell A6 to 18 point. Okay. And then we want to merge cell A6 across columns A through 0, center and text. That's what we did in the last lesson. So remember, we want to merge all of these cells, right? So that they're one cell. So we're going to merge horizontally, and then we're going to go ahead and center that. Cool, dude. All right. I'm going to speed up again to create the heart. Okay. And now we're going to type I love you in cell P6. So P6 is right here. We're going to change the font color to white. You can go ahead and do that in advance. So let's change the text color to white. And we'll say, I love you. Okay, and then we want that font size to be 24 point. Okay, and then we want to merge and center the text from P to AD. So from P to AD, we're going to merge and we're going to center. Okay. All right. Now, wow, that's it. Change the page layout orientation to landscape and adjust the page scaling to fit on one page. Format the spreadsheet to be centered both horizontally and vertically. And then we're probably going to get rid of the grid lines, I think. No, well, I guess we'll leave them in. Or maybe not. So we're going to now, remember we want to choose this as our print area. Go to print. Choose selected. We're going to go ahead and go to formatting. We'll take the grid lines off. And then we'll do the vertical to center. And then we're done. Cool, dude.